Thank you so much, and so important. But something else that's also important, of course, Mental Health Monday. It is Monday after all, and we brought back Dr. Tracy Packiam. We're talking habits this time. So welcome back. Good to see you. You look fabulous as always.
You too. I love the Jags colors.
Oh, you know, I still wanted to support even though we didn't win. We always got their back, right? All right, so you have 3 different things that we're going to be talking about. The first one is visualize. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so oftentimes when we want to set on the path of creating a new habit, we don't plan ahead of time. And we do know from research that visualizing actually locks in that memory, and we're activating those same parts of the brain as if we're actually carrying out that activity. So if you want to maybe try to learn a new cooking technique or new recipe every week, visualize yourself getting everything prepped, getting everything going. If you want to do a new physical activity, visualize yourself doing that. And we know, especially when it comes to physical activity, the brain activates that motor cortex. So it's almost like you're telling your brain, your memory system, hey, I'm doing this already. So when you come to actually do that, it'll feel that little bit easier.
Oh, because they say it's like, you know, we go back to things even if we don't like what we're doing because it's familiar, right? Even if we're not happy with a certain outcome, we kind of go back to our old patterns because it's familiar. So it's almost creating that familiar little part in your brain, right? Like even if you haven't physically done it, your brain's like, I remember this.
Exactly.
Okay, and I definitely need to do that more with getting back into my fitness routine because I will start visualizing away. Now, how often do you recommend we do that though before we actually take action?
I would say do it together, do it in conjunction, and that's found to be most effective. So if you want to start walking more in the evening, maybe in the afternoon, start imagining, all right, this is my walking outfit, I'm putting my shoes on, this is me opening the door, this is me actually walking down a path that I'm enjoying, and then go for a walk in the evening. So it's almost like your brain, there's less of a barrier, less of a resistance, because your brain thinks, wait, I think I walked already. This is familiar. This is comfortable. I can do this again.
And so that is why it works? Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, so for making new habits, again, habit stacking, what is that?
Yeah, so this is just a fancy word to say we want to sandwich a new habit between 2 familiar habits. So we're more likely to do that. So if you like walking in the morning, say, okay, between my coffee and checking emails, I'm going to squeeze in a quick brisk walk. So you're actually creating that intention and you're saying it's between these 2 events rather than I'd like to walk at some point today. That keeps it open-ended. We're far more likely to follow through. But when you sandwich or stack a habit on an existing habit, you're connecting it. You know, it's almost like you're towing a boat of a new habit. You're saying, hey, this is going to follow my coffee every morning.
Right, and a lot of times too, they say to write it on your planner. You know, you have all the different appointments that you have to do, all the different assignments you have to do, but if you don't put in, all right, take that walk. I mean, you'll still do it, but I mean, I heard that can also help, right? That's making me think of the stacking, like you're putting it all together, it's laid out for you, and you're more likely to do it.
Yeah, these are all great ways to create intention. So you're actually making a plan or intention, rather than just something ambiguous, I'd like to do this.
Right, okay, and then if we want to break old habits, I've got a lot of those too, I wouldn't mind breaking. So you say use paper clips, how do we do that?
This is a fun visual way because a lot of times we underestimate the number of times we engage in a bad habit.
Right.
Maybe you want to stop biting your nails, maybe you want to stop
cracking knuckles.
Sure.
Sorry, guys, I do that all the time.
Whatever that might be, in your head you might think, oh, I don't do that as often, it's okay, I'm actually doing it less, and so on.
Yes.
So the paper clip is it's a reminder, it's a way to keep tally or track that every time you crack that knuckle, you're like, all right, I'm going to hook a paper clip on. And at the end of the day, you can see visually, oh, wow, maybe I did it more than I actually thought that I did. And it's that first step, that awareness, that insight to how frequently you're engaging in that habit. So you might say, I want to, you know, someone might say, I want to eat healthy. I want to stop, you know, opening the fridge every time I'm working from home. Put that paper clip. Every time you open that fridge door, attach a paper clip. And at the end of the day, you have a visual and you can say, maybe I want to do it 1 time less. 1 time less. And so it gives you a very concrete visual and reminder.
You need that. So where do we put the paper clip? Like if I'm at my desk, do I just set it on the desk?
Yes.
Okay, so
wherever it's a reminder for you, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to tuck it away where you're not looking at it.
Just stack it under the paper.
Yes.
That's so good though, because you brought up that point of self-awareness. If you're unaware that you're doing something, like you know deep down, like, I don't like that I do this, but you might not be realizing how detrimental it can be to yourself
Sure.
or how often you're doing it. That's a great way to just kind of bring back that self-awareness. I'm going to try that.
And I like how you mentioned, is it detrimental? So as a licensed psychologist, that's something I always mention to my clients is it healthy or is it harmful? So we might crack our knuckles, but you might find, okay, it's not harmful.
Right.
I'd like to diminish, or, decrease the frequency, but it's not actually hurting me.
Right.
There may be other habits that are more detrimental to us.
I see.
And it's more of a priority. In that case, that awareness is really crucial at that point.
Yeah, I think the cracking might just be annoying the people around me with all the noise. Sorry, guys. It's I don't know if it's a nervous thing or if it is just a habit, but it's definitely been with me for years. Is there anything you'd like to add, though, before we go about making or breaking habits?
Yeah, I think just asking yourself, because sometimes we can feel overwhelmed too, or we can even put a lot of guilt, like, why am I
Yes.
doing this? Or even people around us may put guilt on us, like, that's annoying, please stop doing
Right.
that. And I think it's important to have that self-check. Is this a habit that's helpful? So sometimes we move because of anxiety, we have that adrenaline.
Right.
Maybe the tapping is part of our body releasing that adrenaline.
Okay.
And so it could be helpful, though maybe annoying to other people. So
Right.
having that insight to ask yourself, is this habit actually harmful to me that I need to decrease it? Or is it part of my coping mechanism and it's actually helping me?
Right.
So to ask yourself that first question before you start feeling guilty or negative.
Because then that just adds more stress,
Correct.
which probably puts you down that spiral of those bad habits again,
Yes.
or habit that you might not want to have. Well,
Exactly,
thank you,
yeah.
thank you so much for joining me today. Always helping us out and making us feel good,
Thank you.
of course. And David, what have we got coming up?
Coming up after the break.